off by just saying I thought that the video reflected kind of where we were last night. You start the game and you go 3 and out, but then our defense came back out and was able to get a 3 and out from them, which we got some field position. So offensively, to have 1 punt, was definitely good. To score points on most possessions, that part we liked. And then defensively, I thought it was more about situational football. We had those couple 4th downs. We had some big stops there at the end of the second quarter. So nothing any different than what I thought yesterday. I do think that Bilal Nichols on defense, he really stood out. I thought he had a really good game. So that part was great. And then special teams wise, no change from really anything that we talked about yesterday. So with that, we'll go ahead and open up to questions.
Brad Biggs.
Hey, Matt. I'm curious about a couple things. One, the delay of game penalty you guys got, was that a function of the referee not leaving you really enough time after he kind of stood over the ball there to prevent a snap? And second, you mentioned that Holtz was in the game there on that interception where Demetrius Harris would usually be. Was Demetrius injured at all in the game?
Yeah, so the first question in regards to the delay game is we had Rashad Coward run in, and what the umpire told me was that we reported, but I guess there was a miscommunication to who we reported to is what he told me. So we'll have to go back and look at the TV copy and see exactly how that went. I know there was an issue that Minnesota had as well where they had to delay a game down there too. So that was that part. And then in regards to Demetrius ended up having an ankle in the game. So at that part of the game when we ran that play, that was where JP went in for him. So yeah, that was originally Demetrius was in that spot for us. And so, and I don't know if y'all talked to Mitch or how that went, but he was trying to throw the ball to A-Rob and it just got away from him. And it was the right decision on where he was going. The ball just got away.
Adam Hogue.
Hey, Matt, I wanted to ask you about that sequence in the second quarter where you called timeout right before punt, and then they ended up putting their offense back on the field. What kind of conversations were you having there with Chris Tabor? And do you guys feel like you sniffed out a fake there?
Well, we weren't sure. We were discussing, you never know in that situation at that part of the field, Adam, that could happen without a doubt. There could be a fake there. But at the same point in time, there was some, communication within the players on the field with how many guys that we had on the field at the time. And I think it's a good teaching lesson for our players and for our coaches and understanding that Coach Tabes and his guys up in the booth and Coach Ginn, they count how many guys are on the field at all times so that we have the legal amount of guys. And so I think there was a little communication of, you could see when we were running off the field, 22 was running off the field and we were good, but there was some miscommunication on what was going on with the players. And so we just wanted to make sure between the fact that they could fake it, and if they do fake it and we're not ready for it, let's just reset, let's call timeout. And then you can see then he trotted his offense back out there. So whether or not they were going to, we'll never know. But he did bring the offense back out. And then we were, the defense situationally did a great job at stopping that play on 4th down.
Kevin Fishbane.
Hey, Matt, you talked last week about the collaboration with you and Bill and then Mitch as well, and then mainly with you and Bill in game with the play calling. Without getting too detailed with scheme, I understand that. Is there an example of a play yesterday where you and Bill it was a good result of collaboration, whether it was between possessions or between plays to get a play in?
Not necessarily. I think for the most part, when I say that with the collaboration, it's more so when the defense is out on the field and the offense is on the sideline. And it's not just Bill and or myself, it's all of us coaches together. Like we're talking through what we have on the call sheet and where we're at and just schematically what we think is good as we go. And so it just helps. It helps out. And I think you're seeing that right now, that it's been pretty good.
Dan Wiederer.
Matt, we're in a holiday week this week. You guys are also going to play an opponent that's lost 13 in a row. I'm curious from your seat how you sort of make certain that you guys both retain focus this week and avoid that trap of looking into week 17 prematurely.
No doubt. Well, no, there's two really simple things for us. Number one, if anybody watched that Rams-Jets game yesterday, you can see what it means to play in the NFL. It does not matter your record. And number two, we haven't done anything yet. So that's the way we approach this thing. We fought through a 6-game losing streak. We're currently, on a 2-game win streak, but that means nothing. And so, after that 6th game that we lost, Dan, what we did is we talked about, we have 4 games that are guaranteed to us. And all we can do is try every way possible to win 4. Now we've won 2, but you can't get to 4 without 3. So I really believe that our guys will understand that. Jacksonville's been in some battles now. They've been in a lot of tight games. We showed a clip of it, of what they did at the end of the game against Minnesota last week and how they ran that draw and had a chance to win on a field goal. So this team is fighting and they're playing hard, and we know that. And so that the last thing we're going to do is look past anybody, and that's not where we're at. So we're going to be completely focused.
Which of your players do you rely on to sort of help set that tone?
There's so many of them, and you guys know that I go a lot to those leaders. But what's pretty cool is also seeing, when I say the leaders, it's the guys the last several years. Whether it's Allen Robinson, whether it's Danny Trevathan, whether it's Eddie Jackson, Khalil Mack, Akeem Hicks, the guys on offense with Cody and Leno and Mitchell, and there's a lot of them, but the one that's really starting to jump up to that forefront on offense right now in his 2nd year is David Montgomery, and it's neat for me to be able to have discussions with him and just see his growth as a leader. He's naturally an introverted person. That's just who he is. He also has a funny side to him. But what's happening now is he's with the way he's playing, his leadership skills are coming out through his actions, and guys are seeing that. And it's a pretty cool growth for him.
Mark Potash.
Hey, Matt, I know there are obviously a lot of factors involved with getting you to where you are offensively, but does any part of you, a lot of people are wondering, why did it take so long to get to this point with Mitch as far as working the offense to take advantage of his strengths? Do you yourself wonder if things might have been different if you had gone to this kind of tack earlier, or is that not really a fair point?
No, I think that for us, you go through these different situations throughout the course of the year, and you're in different places at that time. And so, I think right now you could say, here's an example, right? So Cole Kmet, when we drafted Cole Kmet, we knew when we drafted him what type of player this kid is going to be in his career. He's going to be really, really good at the tight end position. But sometimes what's hard for people to understand is it's like Nintendo, and you think you can just put these kids in for the first game they ever play or the first 3 games they ever play, and that they're going to have these numbers or they can play every snap, and it's hard to do that. And so over the course of the year, you get more and more trust as coaches with a guy like Cole, and Cole gets more and more trust with himself. Now that's just one example. But also for us is just, some of the stuff we went through with the offensive line with the injuries, I think played a factor. Obviously we made the quarterback switch, and so there were some things there. And I think right now, the thing that we're trying to look at is we try not to look back at what happened, but just kind of where we're at right now. And we want to just keep building off of where we feel we're at. And we do feel like it's a good place with the identity of the offense, with Mitchell playing the way he's playing, with the scheme, with the consistency of O-line, and with the growth of all these younger players. Even a guy like Mooney, we weren't sure in week 1 against Detroit were the lights going to be too big for Mooney coming from where he came from. He's obviously shown that they're not. So all these young guys have really stepped up. Mustafa, Alex Bars, and they've all played pivotal roles. And so now, would we have loved to have it happen sooner? Yeah, but it hasn't. And so we just want grow these next 2 games.
Couple more for Coach Adam Johns.
Matt, kind of going off that, I was hoping if you could elaborate on why the changes also work for the offensive line, especially inside there for the 2 young guys. And then specifically, what have you made of Cody Whitehair's play at left guard? I know he had a big block on David's touchdown run, but just him being a leader, moving from center to left guard, what have you made of it?
Yeah, that was big. And the same thing with Fetty, and then Charles's consistency at left tackle was staying healthy and being a leader there with those young guys. And so I'll start off with just saying that, again, when somebody goes down with an injury, and sometimes you're forced into certain decisions and you see, is a guy ready or not ready? That happened with us with both Sam and Alex. I mean, Alex played center for us, and now here he is playing right guard, and Sam played center, and then he got hurt and then came back a few weeks later, and Fetty switches over to tackle, and Cody's moving over to left guard. And we had a feeling coming out of the bye that health-wise and then position-wise, putting these guys in these spots was going to be what's best for this offense, not just in the run game, but in the pass game as well. And I think that Juan Castillo with these guys and Donovan Raiola, just working to their strengths and then keeping a consistency with schematics of what we want to do has been really good. So it's a nice story for those guys. I mean, you talk about a guy like Sam Mustipher, he's a leader, and he has extreme confidence in himself. And you hear about the stories when he was at Notre Dame and running all these meetings with guys like Quentin Nelson and all these other players at Notre Dame, and then Alex Bars. And you guys see it when you watch tape. You see these linemen now, they're running to the ball, they're picking guys up off the ground, they're celebrating. Go check out the touchdown run and watch Sam Mustipher's celebration after the touchdown. It's pretty neat. And that's kind of where we're at right now. So it starts right there, and it starts with a belief and trust. It then filters down to or moves on to David at running back, to CP at running back, to Mitchell at quarterback. These tight ends guys are blocking so well right now in the run game. They're making these small blocks that sometimes don't get recognized on TV, but their angles are great, and they care. They're having fun. They're celebrating. The wide receivers, same thing. And you take all that and you combine it into an identity, and then Mitchell's making great decisions, outside of the pocket and using his legs. And it's a stressor. You see what's going on with the linebackers right now, and they're trying to figure it out. So that's been good, and there's extreme confidence.
Pat Finley.
Matt, I have 2 unrelated questions. Number one, with Cordero, is this anything that you're worried about in terms of his availability next week? And could we see some of what we saw in the second half, which was you using him on special teams, but not offensively? And secondly, I'm just curious about your defense, what you saw yesterday that leads you to think that maybe things will get better next week.
So I'd say with CP, he'll be day to day, and keep an eye on him. I hope that he's able to go and be good. And we're kind of at that point right now, Pat, where you're at the end of the year and there's a bunch of bumps and bruises. So we also have to keep a good eye as coaches as to how we treat these guys throughout the week of practice, having 2 weeks guaranteed left. We want to make sure that we're smart. So we'll keep an eye on that with Andre with CP, and I hope he's okay. I just appreciate his toughness to battle that out yesterday. And then in regards to the defense, again, you can see we have having a couple of those younger guys in there yesterday on the back end. We took a few things from it. You go back and you look, and there's a couple times where assignment wise, they could have been a little bit better on the mental side, but that's natural. That's going to happen. I think what you do see out of those 2 young guys is they battle every play, and they're not scared to stick their nose in the briar patch and make some plays. I mean, Duke Shelley made 2 huge tackles that resulted in us getting the ball back because of the tackles that he made. Vildor, he's sticky and he gets on you and he can make plays and he's going to grow. Are there going to be times he gets beat? Yeah. But the defense in general, I thought, they had a couple long runs. They had that touchdown to the tight end, and then they had the little flare pass when we blitzed them to 33 to Dalvin. But there were some chunk plays, but when we had to make plays at the right time on defense, we did it. And that's a sign of guys that care and a sign of a group of guys that know they can get better, and they will. But they never quit, and they made plays at the right time.
Last one for Coach Adam Hogue.
Hey, Matt, with Jermaine Ifedi specifically, I think you called that move back to right tackle selfless a couple weeks ago. Obviously, that position didn't work out for him in Seattle. What's different this time since he's gone back there for you guys to get him playing where he's playing for you guys right now?
Yeah, so it's totally different when you're playing inside there at guard versus outside on the edge at tackle. There's a lot more communication on the inside with the types of things that you can see on the interior. When you're on the outside, there's a lot more one-on-one blocks. So to me, regardless of his past and what happened in Seattle, I know that Juan Castillo really works a lot of fundamentals with these guys. And the one good thing and one strength that Juan has is with the repetition of fundamentals over and over and over, he gets these guys to really believe in what they're doing. And that's a strength of Juan's, and it works out for these kids or for these guys, these players. I think you're seeing that right now with Jermaine. And that, along with the combination of working with a guy like Alex Bars on the right side, it's just been good for us. And that's the selfless part, is he never at one point in time said, I've done that at tackle. I just want to play guard. How are you going to switch me back out at tackle? Never did that. He embraced it from the start, and it's benefiting us right now.
Thanks for your time, Coach.
Okay. Take care.
Yeah, David, it's the third week in a row you have scored a lot of points. Do you feel like you have truly found an identity as a team and as an offense specifically?
I definitely we're on the right path to finding it. We're doing a hell of a job, just trusting in each other, but we still got a lot of work to do.
Dane Weeder.
David, could you walk us through what you saw on your second touchdown run, the 14-yarder, and just kind of how that play unfolded in front of you?
Yeah, the old line just opened up a crease as they've been doing. The receivers blocking their tails off, and I just seen it and I hit it, so it kept my legs going and was able to get in there.
To have the workload today that you had and to have that trust, what's your mindset when you're given the opportunity to be the guy and to get 30+ touches?
Make it count. Let's not regret giving me that many carries, and let me make sure that I'm. Show my O-line that I'm going to give them everything that I got. Show the wide receivers that I'm going to give them everything that I got every chance I get. So that was just the main thing, was being sure that I let them know they got all of me.
Come Fishman.
David, what's been like for you the last couple of weeks to be able to kind of run with a lead and not just being run to gain yards, but running to keep possession of the ball and help your defense out?
Yeah, it's been fun, man. It's been fun being able to go out there, just let it loose, cut it loose, and just have fun with the guys around you. So just being able to get that opportunity to do that has been the best for me. So we just excited. It's now this game's behind us. We go back to the drawing board, figure out what we can fix so we can get better.
Phillips.
Hi, David. Congratulations on another big game. How impressed have you been with the offensive line from week one up to now, as far as just the progression on everything?
Yeah, just seeing it from week one to now is definitely like a full 360, seeing how those guys, because we were running a new scheme. So now everybody's getting it down. It's going well. So we're starting to trust into each other. We're having fun doing it. So they've been working their tails off. Kudos and hats off to those guys. Like I said, Sam being the leader, Alex being who he is, Charles being who he is, Cody being who he is, and Fetty, they all just come together. Their personalities just make that line so much more better. So I appreciate those guys for everything that they do and how they come to work.
Thanks, Dave. Mark Potash.
David, this has been such a big turnaround for the running game from the middle of the season. What's the best way to illustrate or explain just what that groove that you and the offensive line, just the offense in general with the run game, feel like you're in? What's the best way to say just how good that feels or what is actually happening out there?
Just one word, really, and it's just trust. Me trusting in them and them trusting in me. and the guys around us, the wide receivers trusting in me and me trusting in them. That's what it all falls down on. It's just trusting in each other from the first snap to the last snap. So that's merely what it is.
Is this a result of the progression of the season going through the tough times, or could this have happened earlier in the year if things have been different, from the start?
That's just kind of how the season goes. There's ups, there's downs, but you can't get too high with the highs and too low with the lows. You can't get too emotional with the good and too emotional with the bad. So you just gotta stay consistent, stay level, and go to work every day with the same mentality. You just getting better and making guys around you better as well.
Thank you.
Jen Reader.
David, was there any point today where you thought about being at home for the last Vikings game and not being able to play a month ago when you played them?
Yeah, it sucked. So I wanted to be sure that I go out there and give those guys everything I had because I felt like I sold them short by missing the game. I felt like I didn't give them everything I had because I wasn't out there. So just being able to go out there and show those guys that I love them, they get everything out of me. So it's been good.
How do you describe what the atmosphere was post-game in that locker room, given that you guys now have won 2 in a row, you found your a little bit offensively, and now the playoffs are a little bit more realistic?
Yeah, honestly, it just been it was exciting, but at the same time, like I said last week, we're more focused, because it's right there for us. We just got to take it one practice at a time, one game at a time.
All right, we got time for one more from Kevin Fishman.
David, when you're in a game like this, and you get this many carries, can you really feel the impact that it has on the defense? As you get that first contact, can you kind of feel the way you're impacting them because you've been able to run it so well throughout the game?
Yeah, for sure. From the first snap to the last, you can always kind of tell like how the defense is going to play against you. How the D-line's flowing, how the linebackers are flowing. And, being able to just keep going and keep puncturing, that takes a toll on defenses. So, it was able to take a toll today, and, we were able to capitalize off of it.
Darnell, how do you explain the offensive outburst the last 3 weeks here, and how does it feel to get to this point after struggling at the start of the year?
Yeah, that was the biggest part of just getting through this, getting through the hassle of the beginning of the season, of just not being able to get anything to click. And now we have everything clicking. We can definitely do better, but it's good to be on a positive part on the offensive side.
Mike Berman.
Darnell, I think human nature would make people feel pretty down going through what you guys went through, especially with the offense struggling. What's that confidence level like? What are you guys feeling like on the sideline and in the huddle with the way you guys are going now?
We're very mentally strong on offense. I would have to say the whole team, actually. I mean, it's been a crazy season, and but it definitely gives us a lot of confidence from coming from practice of just everything looking way smoother, and just doing it in the game executing wise. So we definitely have that confidence, and it's gonna look well throughout the season.
JJ.
Darnell, when you guys were on that run, I think it was 6 straight possessions with a score. What's just the confidence like in the huddle, and what was Mitch saying to you guys during that stretch?
He was just giving us the confidence itself. Everything was feeding off him and Sam, just coming off of them just being vocal and just pushing confidence in our head of just being able to, hey, let's get this first down, of just being like the gap plays of the drive. You have those certain plays where hey, we got to get this, and then we complete those and just build our confidence.
Cam Ellis.
Darnell, as an offense, when you guys see David Montgomery, pulling 2-3 guys into an end zone, what kind of energy does that give you guys as a whole?
And David is a beast, man. You always know he's gonna run through either 2 or 3 guys, regardless of who is around. Man, Dave is a monster, man. It doesn't matter who's around him. He's gonna push it through at least a couple more yards.
Pat Finley.
What does the the possibility of a playoff berth do for everybody's energy level here the next couple weeks?
Right now, we feel like we're in playoffs right now, so that's our mindset of just being in that playoff mindset and just not losing. So regardless of what goes on throughout the season, we're just gonna try to finish it out and have the other team do their thing so we can get in.
Zach Pearson.
Hey, Darnell, are you noticing defensive backs kind of respecting your speed a little more? And if so, what do you have to do differently in terms of your technique?
Usually like in the beginning, in the beginning of the season, they were respecting it well, and then they seen that I can run routes as well. So now I'm just actually just giving them my speed off rip, letting them know it's still there, that you're still gonna have to respect it regardless. And then I'll probably run something quick. So I put it all together and use my quickness and my speed at the same time.
One more for Darnell. JJ.
Darnell, that juke move you had near the sideline, how did you pull that off without going out of bounds?
Which way? The right, left?
Going right to left.
Right to left. I'm not even remembering. I remember one time I got one. I tried to juke him, but he held on too long. I'm not even knowing which one you're talking about.
All totally fair. Yep.
Yeah, Cairo, you all are coming off a very tough game, but a game that boosts you all's potential in the playoffs. What's the mood right now in the locker room?
It feels great, obviously, being able to snap that 6-game losing streak last week. And then we knew that we could still be in the dance at the end of the season. We just had to come out and find ways to win. And how the offense really the whole team been able to respond to that. It's been huge. And I think the mood is just like, we got 2 more, and we got to win 2 to be in it. So I think it's definitely good for the confidence of the whole team to now have a 2-game winning streak, but there's still work to be done.
Van Reader.
Cairo, another perfect day. Obviously, we've talked to you for months now about the comfort zone you're in. How did it feel today, and how much did you enjoy sort of having the opportunity to be the guy that was sealing that one today?
Yeah, it was huge. Everything I handled today with the field goals, extra points, and kickoffs. It was probably one of my most, best game I've had in terms of just the importance of the kicks, the distance of the kicks, and how much this game means, and to eliminate a good returner that the Vikings have. So it's I can't do it alone. So I for sure have to recognize the snapper, holder, the 2 bats, and the entire O-line. We've been putting these drives, and they're tired. I can see it, and they come out with a clean protection like that. It's huge. And then I ask for opportunities to come out and show my importance to have those 2 important field goals at the end to kind of keep scoring. Feels great.
Well, what's your confidence level in those fourth quarter moments where you know that this is a chance to sort of put the nail in the coffin?
I just approach like a normal kick. To me, it's all about that snap hold kick in my head, and so focusing on that routine. Really like a field goal in the first quarter, first drive, and then in the fourth quarter. To my head, it's the same kick. Obviously, there's more importance, but I try not to focus on and think about those things because and just focus on the process.
Joe Lewis.
Yeah, Cairo, the Bears, of course, have an unfortunate history with kickers in recent memory. As the games get on and the games get more important, especially with the playoffs looming, how much of that pressure do you feel?
None, to be honest, just because I keep saying to you guys, I'm just looking to make go 1 for 1 on my next kick, and I think taking that approach, it helps you not think about what's surrounding you, like with the pressure, with the importance, and everything. I just try to keep it simple and less thinking I'm doing. I think better typically kick.
We got time for one more from Dane Weeder.
Cairo, in a normal year, we'd be able to come in the locker room and get a feel for how things were in there. Can you describe for us kind of what the atmosphere is inside that locker room right now?
It's great, especially because it's. I think this last 2 games it was complementary football. I mean, offense, defense, special teams. We came out at some point when it needed to get those 2 wins. So, and we know that nobody in this locker room has gave up during that 6-game losing streak. So I think seeing everybody have their piece of success, I'm fired up for the offense and defense, and they're fired up for special teams that we've been able to come through for them. So it's just that love, that family, that we're all rooting for each other and want each other to succeed. And we miss Club Dub and all that. Just be able to kind of dance and loosen up a little bit. It feels great. But when we get back to Chicago, it's business again.
Yeah, Damian, Danny, with a tough division opponent and a tough game, especially with the playoffs being in the background, how would you rate the performance of your defense today?
It wasn't our best, but anytime you win, there's always good and bad plays. We don't like the fact that we gave up so much rushing yards. That's not us at all. We're gonna get that figured out. I know that for sure. It's just the type of guys we are. We all take pride in that. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like we played a pretty solid game. It was, like I said, it's always good when you come away with the dub, but little things that we can fix, that we need to do better if we want to keep this thing rolling like we are.
Dane Weeder.
Danny, you guys obviously came up with 2 key 4th down stops, one in the first half and then obviously one late in the game. What was your thought process going into that one at the end of the game, and then to see Brent get that pressure on Kirk to get that one thrown away there?
I love it. I love it. He's always electric. He's always energized, and it fits our defense. And it's been fun, playing with him. He brings a little swag to it, and I like his mindset. To see that happen, our defense has been good on 4th down, but we haven't been great. So this game was one of the ones where we stepped up a lot and made some key plays on 4th down that we knew that they was going to try to do something that we had practiced or that we saw before. So we just attacked and made plays.
Sean Heyman.
Danny, were you surprised at all that they went away from Dalvin Cook there on that second one on the 4th down?
No, yes and no. I always believe in know what you know, play what you see. So I'm sure that they was pretty sure that we was going to blitz everybody on that play, just knowing the situation, how many yards, and, the events that occurred during the game. So we had to be smart. We had to get out there. We know that they like the boots and all that stuff, try to get your eyes wrong and make a play. So we stepped up big, and, it goes to show that we're putting in work, during the week.
Joe Lewis.
Yeah, Danny, with the offense scoring 30 points for the 3rd week in a row, how good does it feel to have the offense finally catch up to the performance that the defense has been putting on all year?
Man, it's good. It feels great, man. We always knew, it's going to come. We just enjoyed watching the growth and the electricity that they bring and the energy that they bring to us. They've been doing a great job, man. We've been practicing Gibson for a long time, so we knew what the capabilities was, and we're just glad to see that it happened like we knew it would.
We've got time for about 2 more. We're going to go Joe Phillips and Dan Weeder to close things out.
Hi, Danny. My question to you, how impressed are you with the play of Mitchell Trubisky?
I'm very impressed. I would say it's more of me knowing the type of character that he is. I kind of expect that, just like he expects that from me. We push one another, we communicate. He's a very vocal guy to his teammates. He loves to talk. So I've seen the growth. I was here when he first came just to see the growth of his mindset and the way he's taking leadership, and everybody buying in to one another. I'm proud to see it, and I know it's only going to get better.
Dane Weeder.
Danny, when I say the name Kairos Santos, what do you think?
Between the uprights. That's all I think of, man. He been making bank this year. That's all I'm gonna say. It's been money. It's been good to us, and I love the vibe he breathes. You know what I'm saying? So I love to watch field goals because it's his job. That's what he focuses on all the time. So to see how he handles the way he approach it, I love watching.
That
right, Danny.
That last,
Oh, sorry.
sorry, Danny, on the last pass, when that ball's up in the air, can you take me through kind of your thoughts? the pass by Cousins.
I know I know our defense is not gonna let that happen. I know somebody was gonna catch it or somebody was gonna tip it. And we practiced it a lot, but to see it happen, it makes guys believe in the work that they put in. You know what I'm saying? So I love watching it. I was like, ooh, at first, and I'm like, ooh, yeah, there we go. So it's good to watch.
Thank you, Danny.
All right, Danny. Thank you. Appreciate the time.
Hey, Mitch, two-parter for you. One, what does it mean to have your playoff hopes alive here, given the ups and downs of this season? And then also, how would you describe kind of the mindset of this team in the locker room post-game?
We're excited. We're excited. I mean, this is what you play for. You play for an opportunity to get into the playoffs, and we had a bad streak going there, but we knew if we stuck together and battled as a family and just kept leaning on each other, that we can make a run. And we put ourselves in a position to do so. But at the end of the day, it comes down to being focused one day and one game at a time. And we got to enjoy this today, but then also go back to work next week. But the guys in the locker room are excited. There's really good camaraderie right now. Just an intensity and focus that I like to see. And we're in a good spot. And we just got to keep that going.
Pat Finley.
Hey, Mitch, I'm curious what happened in the end zone on the pick. Matt said he thought maybe the ball got away from you, but that he had wanted to ask you. So I figured I would.
Yeah, it got away from me a little bit. I thought I could make a little bit better of a throw and also a little bit better of a decision down there. That would be one I would want back. Just we need a touchdown in that situation or a field goal at the least to put them away. Luckily, the defense had my back coming up with a big stop at the end there. And my teammates had my back too. So, but that is one throw I definitely would want to have back. It didn't go exactly where I wanted it to go.
When you said better decision, was there someone else open you saw afterwards, or was it just if it's not there, throw it away?
More of a if it's not there, throw it away situation. It's got to be in a spot where either A-Rob can get it or nobody, and it sailed on me a little bit.
Steve Leventhal. JJ.
Mitch, over the last couple of years, we've been asking Coach Nagy about you and his having his eyes matching on a play. So your eyes matching where he's looking on a play. Do you feel like over the last 3 weeks that's been happening more? That you've been more in sync with what Coach Nagy and also then Coach Laser are looking at on these plays?
Yes, definitely. I would say so. I think I'm just going out there, trusting what I'm seeing, and I'm getting the ball in the right place. Of course, there's always a couple times a game where I'm on the field and I see something that happens differently than what they see in the sidelines or up on the box. But we just communicate that stuff on the sidelines, continue to improve, move forward, and have that constant communication and dialogue that helps us get better. But I definitely feel like my eyes have been in the right spot, and I'm doing what I'm coached to do and just trying to make plays for the offense.
Steve Leventhal.
Yeah, Mitch, can you talk about, David Montgomery and what it means to this offense when he outgained and outscored one of the league's premier rushers in Dalvin Cook?
Yeah, David's a special running back. He runs with such great passion and will when he has the ball in his hands. And him and I both know that it all starts up front with this offensive line, the way they're playing together, coming off the line and creating those seams for him to run through. Well, you get David in an open field, he's a special back. He's going to make guys miss. Guys are going to bounce off of him, and he runs harder than anyone I've seen in person. So it's special when he has the ball in his hands, and all 11 guys got to do our job so we can continue to spring him loose. And the O-line has done a great job doing that.
Adam Hogue.
And Mitch, at this point, you know Mike Zimmer's defense well and what he tries to do against you. What kind of wrinkles did he throw out there for you today, and how did you feel like you handled it?
Yeah, I think they threw a couple good pressures at us on third down, but I just got the ball out quick and we were able to get a couple third down conversions there. But for the most part, they did a good job keeping it in front. I don't think they didn't want anything to get behind them, and that's where just the movements and our run game went to work. So we did a great job running the football today, staying efficient on first and second down, so we could stay out of those third down situations where they're going to show more of those funky looks, and we know that. So they're just a very sound defense. They just want to have guys in the right spot, so they're able to make plays. And their two safeties in the back end make it hard on quarterbacks with the false rotations and just jumping around and stuff like that. But I thought we did a good job, just everyone being on the same page and executing, and we were able to score a good amount of points today.
Kevin Fishbane.
Mitch, was this game as balanced as you can remember? Just having the run and the pass working together hand in hand, and off that, how much is it benefiting you to be able to have that with David and just kind of go back and forth with the two?
It's huge. We want to be a balanced offense for sure, and I think the run plays off the pass, and the pass plays off the run really well. And but our O-line takes a lot of pride in running the football, and so does David. So when we have that going for us, I feel like everything else in our offense really opens up. And especially when you're going against a Vikings defense who wanted to play a little more shell, too high safety today. They're asking you to run the football. So we wanted to go out there, establish the run today, and the O-line with their mindset and David with his. That we just went out there and that's what we did. But we passed when we needed to, and it was a pretty balanced game all across the board.
Dan Wiederer.
Mitch, I'm curious how you feel about Cairo right now in the hot streak that he's on.
He's special. He's having a special season. He was clutch for us today. Those field goals are huge, and he hit every single one of them. So I just got to know when we pass the 50 and when we're down in the red zone to be smart, to continue to give him those opportunities to put points on the board for us. And he's doing a great job. We're really proud of him and the whole special teams unit. Punt return, kickoff, kick return. All those guys are doing a great job, and Cairo's doing awesome. But it's the operation too. Pat Scales and Patty O with the snap and the hold, and those guys have been money, and I'm super proud of them.
Mike Berman.
Mitch, compare the confidence that you and the offense are feeling right now to earlier in the season, and how does the confidence that you guys have, the vibe that you guys have, impact what you're able to do?
Yeah, confidence is very important. I would say we're definitely, I don't want to quite say night and day, but our confidence is way up from earlier in the season, where it just seemed like we were a little unsure about what we wanted to do, who we wanted to be. We have more of an identity now. It starts with running the football and then the play action and movement game that comes off that, and just being efficient on first and second down, and being a balanced offense. So I feel like we have more of an identity now. Guys are buying into it. There's more passion and excitement at practice over the last few weeks. We feel like we keep getting better every single week. And when you keep getting better, and guys get more experience playing together. 11 is 1. I think that's when guys just really gain confidence, and then you're just able to go out there and play free, play loose, and play the way that we know we're capable of playing.
Last one for Mitch. Pat.
Mitch, what does it say about your team that you're able to get a win here in a manner that really wasn't the way you guys were trying to win games earlier in the year? Before it was kind of leaning on the defense. Now you got offense and a kicking game that you're confident in. What does it say about the ball club?
I think it says we can win in various amount of ways. And today we scored points, but our defense also came up big at the end. So it's about playing complementary football and doing whatever you have to do to go out there and get a win. And we want to keep getting better as an offense. And I know our defense wants to keep getting better as a defense, and so does the special teams. So when all the three units are on the same page and clicking, and we all play our best game, I think that's when we give ourselves a really good chance every single week. So we just got to keep improving, keep staying with this mindset and having great weeks of practice and enjoy this one, but get back to work tomorrow.
Thanks, Mitch.
Hey, Rob, the first touchdown drive, you had that catch down the right sideline, got both feet down. What did you see on that play to come open? And obviously, how big of a jump was that to get on the board first again?
It's always big to score first. Again, I think the biggest thing, even on that play for me, was just to win my one-on-one matchup again. But I thought that we were able to run the ball really well on that first drive. We were able to get the play action game involved as well. I thought we kept it very balanced throughout, but I thought we set the tempo for the rest of the game on the first drive.
JJ Stankovitz.
Alan, you've played with Mitch for a couple of years now. What does it do for the offense when he's kind of playing in a groove like he got into at times today?
Yeah, I think it's big. Again, when anybody kind of gets into that groove, So for us, like I said before, we were able to get an identity established early in the game as far as being able to get some run game going, being able to run some play action off of it and things like that. So I feel like we did a great job of keeping them off balance, and I thought that we dictated the tempo of the game on offense for 99% of the game.
Lewis.
Yeah, Alan, comparing this to week 10 when you all play the Vikings, what do you think is the biggest change that allowed you all to score more and to beat them?
I would say the biggest thing is I think that we were very consistent and played well on first and second down. I think that was the biggest thing. I don't think we got into many third and longs. I think it's one that I could think of, especially in the third quarter, that we converted on. But we stayed out of third and longs, and we kept them third and manageable. And again, we got some chunk plays and things like that on first and second down.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. I'm sorry. Hi, Alan. Yeah, my question to you, with the defense being dominant over the past 2 years, now the offense is starting to actually catch to the defense. Is the sky's the limit for you guys? And what can we potentially look forward to as reporters and fans?
I think we're playing really well right now. I always think that the sky is the limit for us. Again, we're playing very complimentary football, across the board with offense, defense, special teams. But also, as far as our offense, we're able to do a lot of different things right now, and we're playing well doing those things. Like you see us being able to get some play action shots. We're able to get get the run game going. We're able to get some dink and dunks. We're getting some yak and some other things off of that. So right now we're very balanced. I think, again, with us keeping it so balanced, I think that's where we're having our success at, especially with us being able to get the run game going. Again, that puts us in some 2nd and 5 situations, some 2nd and 4, 2nd and 3s, and even going from first down to first down, So when you can do that, that's huge.
Dan Weeder.
Alan, over the last 4 weeks, David has had an opportunity to kind of show what he can be as a back. What do you appreciate most about him as a runner?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for him is making the thing that I appreciate most is, I think he's a hard runner no matter what. And I think he's ran hard his entire career, even when he may not have been able to, show exactly what he had. Again, for us inside the locker room and on this team, we knew the kind of player that David is. He's always been the same player. We already know when he get the ball, he's going to make the first dude miss. He's never going to get taken down by the first person, especially when he gets the ball in space on some dink and dunks. He can turn a 2-yard, 3-yard catch into a 12, 13-yard play. So, again, I'm really happy for him, just for him to be able to show exactly what he can do over these past few weeks in the run game and in the pass game.
All right, we got time for one more from Mark Potash.
Hey, Alan, as much as you like to catch the ball, how much has the run game kind of created the momentum and the rhythm that this offense needs? It just seems like that's been a big impact that's kind of opened things up.
Yeah, for sure. That just makes us a lot less predictable, and in certain situations for us, like I said before, going from first down to first down is huge. It changes the whole dynamic of the game if you can do that, especially on the run. It makes the defense have to respect the run. It changes the zones that teams can run. You get a lot more pull from the backers and stuff in the zone. So when you can run the ball, it really puts a lot of pressure on the defense at all times.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Alan, we actually had one more pop up if Dan Weeder.
Alan, you've obviously been here through a little bit of a kicker carnival during your time in Chicago. What are your feelings about Cairo Santos now? He's made 22 consecutive field goals.
Man, Cairo's been killing it, man. I don't think he gets enough credit either. I think that he's played extremely well for us. He's made some kicks when we need it. I remember even earlier this week when I was looking back, just kind of watching the Saints game, and seeing him make a 50-yarder, 51-yarder, to take us into overtime. That's not an easy task at all. So for him to be as consistent as he's been all year, man, it's really benefited us. Because again, when we get across the 30 or get into that range, we know at least we're coming away with 3 points, so I think that changes the perspective for everybody. We want to score touchdowns, but we know if we, play our game, take care of the ball, so we'll at least come away with 3.
I want to take this time to say thank you so very much for watching the Rewind Sports 60 channel. All sports, all day, encore presentation, and much, much more. Thank you so very much for your continuous support. Continue to watch, continue to support. Stay safe, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great rest of your day, and may God bless you. Now, back to the Rewind Sports 60 channel.
Clarkism, Motivational Monday by the creative thought scientists. The books you do not read will not help you. You see, you can't read too many books, but you can read too few. The books you do not read will not help you, and you can book that. Go get it. I'm your guy, D. Clark, motivated and blessed. Soak it up. I am.
Relax. Reset. Rejuvenate. Go to our link right now to restart your life. TheRewindSports60.com. What are you waiting for? Hope to see you soon. The Rewind Sports 60.
Thais Gould.
Field goal.
He's for the record, yeah.
He's responsible for 15 points in this Bears victory. So, he is, and here's the deal. It's about, in my opinion, it's getting a second opportunity. And this kid, Santos, it was kind of tough his first time around. He had an opportunity to dance around the league and kind of find himself. Maturity goes a long way. And, of course, we're reaping the benefits of that this season. Things happen in mysterious ways. Eddie Pinheiro, he battled for the job last year. Friend of the program here at the Rewind Sports 60. He goes down with the groin injury, and, of course, the rest is history. So, congratulations. And I was calling him Sierra Santos, but Cairo Santos, he's getting the job done. But I got to go back on something, Lauren and Bruce. And I don't know if Marvelous agrees with that, but hang on here. Help me out here. Because I'm trying to be positive. Lauren is helping me out. I'm trying to be positive. I really am trying to be positive. Help me out here. Help me out, Bruce.
We need a collective positivity.
Yeah, you gotta, every week you guys have to talk me off the ledge. You gotta help me with this one. Did I just hear you two say, and I don't know if Marvelous agreed with this or said it, but did I just hear you two say that we can win with this offense?
Yeah.
Sure. We can.
Why?
Because we got the offense has talent. They've got wide receivers. They've shifted the offensive lineman around, and I think today and last week, you see that the offensive linemen have actually shown up. We can win with this offense. Absolutely.
Depends who we're playing.
We're putting up 30 points per game. Hey, all we need to do is win next week, which we're going to win next week. And then, hopefully Green Bay rests everybody. And then we win that week. And we're in the playoffs. So then, once we get in the playoffs, we'll take it from there. But let's get in the playoffs first.
Bruce, as a player, I understand. That's your end goal. When you start the season, the end goal is to get to the Super Bowl. But the first road is to win the division, get into the playoffs, and then win your playoff games, win the conference championship, and then move yourself toward the Super Bowl. I get all that, but and that's from a player's perspective. But from a pedestrian perspective, a layperson perspective, watching from the sidelines, this Bears team, is that really something that you want for this team to get to the playoffs? And Lauren makes a very valid point. They could beat Jacksonville next week on the road because that team, they're terrible. And they could actually win the Green Bay game if Green Bay has the bye week already wrapped up and they only played their players like a preseason game, only the first half, and then bring on, everyone else. The way this team is playing, the Bears could walk away with the next two victories and possibly have an opportunity to advance to the playoffs, of course. So do you really want that as a layperson for this team? And we always talked about the smoke and mirrors. Do we want this from this team to make the playoffs? Because they're going to sell it to us that, hey, we got the personnel, we got the coaches, we got the front office, we got everything in place. It was the pandemic. It was COVID that got in our way. We're better than what you see. Is that something that we really want to look forward to?
You know what? You always want to get to the playoffs. I don't care if you get there by winning the division, if you get there by having the best record in the NFL, or if you get there as a wild card, the last team to enter the playoffs. You want to get to the playoffs because anything can happen in the playoffs. Anything. So you always want to get to the playoffs. And the only thing that's gonna that's gonna help any team that doesn't get to the playoffs is they have a better position on the draft board. And how many mistakes do these teams make year in and year out by drafting their number one guy? I mean, how many first round draft picks have there been that have been flops? So it doesn't, that's no sure thing. That's no sure thing. There are more second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, seventh round draft picks playing in the NFL than there are first round draft picks.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. I mean, it's always good to get a top draft pick. I mean, because those are skilled players at a skilled position. They're athletes and they're very talented, and that's why they go as high as they go. But you're absolutely right. Not all top draft picks pan out to be, the top caliber individuals that you expect them to be on the next level. Hence, just look at Marcus Mariota and, of course, Jameis Winston. Those are two high caliber athletes on the collegiate level. As far as the National Football League is concerned, they're, and we use the word again, pedestrian. I mean, it's, they haven't had the bust out, career that you expected them to have. So I totally agree with you on that. And I got to say this. We do, and we're on with the great Bruce Herring, number 51, former Chicago Bear outside linebacker, joining us on the Rewind Sports 60 with the weekly breakdown of the Chicago Bears. The Bears knock off the Minnesota Vikings by a score of 33-27. I do have to say this, though. As much as we've been bashing and beating up Ryan Pace, the Bears general manager, his class of rookies this year, they've done pretty good. I mean, for the most part. Now, Jalen Johnson didn't play because of the shoulder injury, and that was suspect in drafting him because he had 3 shoulder injuries or shoulder surgeries in 4 years. So that was kind of suspect. But as far as his play on the field, he's been lights out. And then, of course, Mooney on the offensive side of the ball, the kid is phenomenal. He's a small kid, but he is phenomenal. So Ryan Pace has done halfway decent as far as his picks on the this recent draft class that he has, man. What are your thoughts as far as what his situation looks like based on what the performances he's seen on and you talk about Cole Kmet. I mean, they when they're used, they're effective.
Yeah, you know what my position is that you mentioned Mariota and Jameis Winston. I mean, they're quarterbacks in the league that go to teams, and teams have it like I was saying earlier. They have a system. They draft the quarterback. They want to make the quarterback fit the system, rather than creating a system to fit the talent of the quarterback. And there are some guys that can make the adjustment. There are other guys that can't. And they figured out that Trubisky is not a drop back passer. I mean, you got to do some other things with the kids. You got to roll them out. You got to let him move around the pocket. You even got to let him run. I mean, call some running plays for the quarterback. And so all of that plays into whether guys are successful or not. Guys, top tier guys coming out of college, they're picking up, got guys that are top 10 picks. They go to a team that they don't utilize him properly with the talent that he has, then he's not going to be successful. He's not going to be successful. But then the guy will turn around and go to another team and become an all-pro. It happens all the time. Look at Richard Dent. Richard Dent was an eighth round draft pick out of Tennessee State. Man. And Richard Dent he's one of the most ferocious damn defensive ends, pass rushers in the history of the league. He was a Super Bowl MVP. Absolutely. And Hall of Famer. Eighth round draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to do with the team having a system. You draft players if you're going to draft players, you draft players that's going to fit your system. Don't draft players because they're the best at what they do.
Bruce, I wanted to ask you a bit about the defense. 3 sacks today, coming off of 7 last week. They were able to frustrate Cousins a bit. There were some injuries in the secondary as well, but they're giving up a lot of points and a lot of yards. Of course, Mack is hobbled. Talk to me about the defense. And, we've had basically the same personnel as the 2018 defense, but the production has been drastically different. What's the difference with the defense in your eyes? And what are your thoughts in terms of moving forward, looking to the games ahead? What do they need to do to get more production?
I tell you what, I watched Eddie Jackson today. I mean, I saw Eddie Jackson on one particular play. I mean, he looked like he wanted nothing to do with playing football today.
I told you that. I was like, what? Yeah. Hey, Bruce. See, you're a student of the game just like I am. You got that keen eye for football. No, but I seriously, I was joking. I said, I didn't know where Eddie Jackson was. It looked like he was in the stands eating popcorn and drinking Dr. Pepper until the last play of the game when he made the deflection on the alley-oop or the Hail Mary. But she brings up a great point.
Even that play at the last play of the game, that Hail Mary, he tried to knock the ball down. He tipped it in the air, and luckily, one of the Vikings players didn't catch the ball. It was finally intercepted. But damn, I mean, he didn't even do that damn right. He's supposed to knock the damn ball instead of knocking it in the damn air. I don't know, man. I tell you what, I've seen Eddie Jackson play the last. It's been quite a few games this year, man. He's not showing me much today. He didn't want anything to do with playing football today.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know if he's hurt or what, but whatever it is, man, somebody needs to talk to that young man.
You know what? It's interesting. Here's the deal. And when I'm watching this football game, and I'm like, where's Eddie Jackson? What's going on with him? What's he doing? Help me out here, right? Because I've never played at that level. I've only dreamed about it, of course, but I've never played at the highest level ever, right? And when you get to that level, it's business. It's fun. It's work. But it's also business, and NFL stands for not for long. Okay, so the smart players find a way to have longevity. which means you're going to get that paycheck. And this is just me sitting on the couch as a Bear fan hoping that they win. But is there some hint, and I told you, I hate the cliche of, yeah, they're human too. But in regards to that, is there some hint that, some of these players sometimes go, hey, I'm not going to bust my body up. We're getting our brains beat in. I'm not going to get my body beaten up because I want to make sure that I'm equipped enough, whether I'm playing for the Bears or some other team, that I can get another payday. So I'm going to pick and choose. And it's interesting that you bring up Richard Dent because that was one of the negatives about Richard. Some people pointed the finger and said that, the Colonel would take some plays off. Right. And, it worked in his favor, I don't think he was taking any plays off, but that was some of the finger pointing going on with Richard Dent, that he would take some plays off and he wasn't effective every down. But of course, he was a smart player. He knew what he needed to do and he knew when he had to do it. Do some players in the league say, hey, you know what? Hey, man, we stink. Like Jacksonville. You ain't won a game or you won one game. I'm not going to go out there and kill myself and possibly end my career. And I'm not going to get paid anymore. Does that ever creep into the mind of these professional athletes playing at the highest level?
No, I mean, if something like that creeps into a guy's mind, he's not going to be around very long. I think that most guys understand that they have to go out and do their job and do it to the best of their abilities, whether you're losing or winning. And just because as a team, you're not winning, you don't go out and just lay down. You have to go out and do your damn job because, this is a professional sport, and other teams and players around the league, they see you. They see what you're doing on the field. And you know what? The worst thing in the world you want is to be labeled lazy, non-caring, lack of effort, not focused, not prepared. You don't want those labels, man, because you get those labels, you won't be in the league very long, period.
Yeah, but Bruce, don't you think there are some players who are they're skilled, they're veterans, and we used the cliche, don't confuse activity with accomplishment. Some guys may be able to, run hard to a position, or they may be able to, fall in on the pile after the tackle has been made to seem as if, hey, I'm being active, but I'm not being productive. And film can tell you all different sorts of things. Of course, it's used as negotiating tactics when you're trying to get that contract. It just seems because Eddie Jackson is a gifted athlete, and we've seen his style of play. The guy is phenomenal. But how do you go MIA in a game until possibly the last play of the game? That it's kind of puzzling.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him. The only thing, and I don't know this to be sure, but my only assumption is that he's injured. I mean, he's playing hurt, and he's doing only what he's doing as much as he can because of his injury. I don't know that to be the case, but I tell you, man. I mean, this year, Eddie hasn't been playing like he normally has played in the past. I mean, this kid was an All-Pro. Mm-hmm. He's been an All-Pro. Mm-hmm. And he certainly isn't playing like an All-Pro. I mean, that one particular play that's just locked in my brain. Tight end catches a pass, and he's right there in front of Eddie, and Eddie he don't even try to make the tackle. Mm-hmm. And then he breaks loose, and then the guy stumbles and he touches him while he's down, but he didn't even make an effort to tackle the guy. I'm saying, man, what? And he's looking right at him.
Yeah.
How can you? I don't get it. I don't know. It baffles me, man. Baffles me.
Bruce, so our playoff hopes are alive. As you know, we're playing the Jags next week. Hopefully we can beat them. And then Green Bay next week, the week after. And then Arizona just beat Philadelphia 33-26. We would like for them to lose one of their last two games. Possibly they're playing San Francisco and then the Rams. What are our chances? What do you think? Will the Bears make the playoffs?
You know what? I think the Bears are playing well enough to win the last two games. But I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure it's going to work in our favor. And I say that because Arizona has to win. I take that back. Arizona has to lose a game in order for the Bears to get in if the Bears win out. Going into Green Bay, Green Bay doesn't ever like to lose to the Bears. That's just a rivalry that's been going on for 100 years, and I don't see them laying down and letting the Bears win just because they're the number one seed in the NFC. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game, but I'm not saying the Bears can't do it. I think more than anything else, I think that they have an opportunity to do it. But I don't think the Packers are going to lay down and let the Bears just have it.
No, I don't think they will, Bruce. Right. First of all, I don't know if they're going to be able to clinch the number one seed because they're right there with New Orleans and Seattle. So it might be hard for them to clinch by that date. In addition, you're right. The Packers will never want to lose to the Bears, so I doubt they're going to rest anybody. And I'm also disappointed that Gardner Minshew will be playing for Jacksonville next week instead of Mike Lennon. That hurts our chances.
Well, I tell you what. Did you guys see that the Jets won their first game of the season?
No.
Yeah, man, I don't listen. Let me tell you.
They beat the Rams today.
I know they did. And here's the deal. Here's the deal. If it works for the Bears, it's going to work for me. And that, when I say work, it's the pandemic. Because, Bruce, I do the confidence pool every week. I'm brutal. I can't pick a winner to win that saved my life. I'm brutal. I was in last place, believe it or not. For the first time, I've been playing. Well, I'm not broke because you pay your one lump sum at the beginning, and then you have an opportunity to win every week. But I haven't won every year. I've been playing probably 10, 15 years. I've been playing, and I win at least once for sure to make my money back. But I win 2 or 3 times. I've never been in last place. Never. Out of 85 people, I was in last place. It's brutal. It's brutal. This year's been brutal for me, man. Unbelievable.
Out of 85, you're number 85?
Take it easy now, but it's the truth. Well, I was number 85. I climbed up to number 79 now, Bruce. I climbed up to 79.
Hey, man.
It's been brutal.
I tell you what, me and Henry Hackney, we need to find a new friend, man.
Take it easy. Take it easy. Hey, I told you it's COVID, man. It's COVID. I'll be back strong next year for sure, 2021. Hey, man, it's the fastest hour in sports conversation. We always love chatting with you and catching up and breaking down the Chicago Bears. Win or lose, you're a gem in our eyes for sure. Hey, man. What are your plans as far as the holidays is concerned and Christmas? You got Santa Claus going to be making a big stop at your place on Friday?
Absolutely. Well, I always host the family on Christmas Eve, so all the kids can come over, man, and we just have a big hoorah, and the kids get to open their gifts from Paw, and that's what we're gonna do.
I love it.
Every Christmas Eve, and it's a wonderful day, man. It's a wonderful day. So it's always big fun in a Heron household.
Yeah, I heard that Santa got the vaccine.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, you guys, man.
Merry Christmas,
Bruce.
To you and yours.
Lauren,
you too.
Lord bless you, girls. You know what you got to put up with those guys. My goodness.
Hey.
Oh, she holding down the fort. She keep us in check, man. Hey, Bruce, thank you, brother. Happy holidays to you, and we'll talk to you next Sunday after a Bear victory.
Right. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bruce Heron on our TRS60 hotline. Wow. Well, congratulations. The Bears now 7-7 with a 33-27 victory. Trying to see what's happening with the Arizona Cardinals and, of course,
they won.
The New Orleans Saints. They're trying to hold on, come back against Kansas City.
Yeah, Arizona won. I think we might have the tiebreaker over them, I heard today.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yeah. Closing
Collective
thoughts?
Positivity. That's what we need going into our playoff push. Yes. And happy holidays
Merry
to
Christmas,
all listeners.
Thank you to Lauren You're a godsend. And thank you so very much for the positive energy and to continue to reinforce it here on the Rewind Sports 60. Really, really appreciate it. Have a very, very Merry Christmas. We'll see you next Sunday, of course. Though.
Yes.
All right? And, of course, the marvelous one.
Oh, yeah.
And Devin Tingle, hey, thank you so very much. Devin, my apologies. You put all this audio together for us, but unfortunately we didn't get a chance to play it, so my apologies. But it's good. The Bears win, so we end on a happy note.
Yes.
For sure. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the fastest hour in sports conversation. I want to thank you for taking an hour of your time to spend with us on the best sports show in the city of Chicago every Sunday, 6 to 7 p.m. It is the Rewind Sports 60 on WCPT, 8:20 a.m. Have a fabulous week. Have a safe week. If you're going to get the vaccine, get the vaccine. Yeah. It's up to you. Mm-hmm. That's another thing I wanted to really go off on. But,
boy.
Yeah, oh boy. But hey, check us out every Wednesday, Comcast Access in the Northern Suburbs, Channel 17, Channel 19, Channel 35. And, of course, on the RewindSports60.com, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whatever the case may be. We love you guys. Stay safe. Have a very, very safe, sound, and happy Merry Christmas. God bless.
Happy
Take care.
holidays.
Happy holidays. We'll see you next week. Go Bears! 33-27. Chicago Bears. Take care, everybody.
Take me out to the ball game. Hall of Famer Andre Dawson.
All right. Let's hear it from the greatest fans ever. On three. 1, 2, 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back for its root. Root for the Cubbies. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Hey, let's get some runs. Thank you.
Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Sports Medicine Update, a weekly podcast with yours truly, Jerry Riles, and, of course, the sensational, the dynamic, the phenomenal, the most informative, most knowledgeable Dr. Chad Padromas. Doc, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jerry. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, and we're days away from the big day. That, of course, the Christmas holiday season, about a week out, and I know that family members have been. We've been having a lot of gifts delivered to the house with the online shopping and all that stuff. So it's really mounting up. How about on your end?
Yeah, you know, my wife's kind of in charge of the gifts and all that kind of thing. So somebody once told me maybe I shouldn't say this. One of the nice things about being married, you only have to buy gifts for one person. So it's not exactly true. It's my wife, my daughters, but she's kind of in charge of gifts.
You know, it's interesting.
She's good at it.
I'm sorry?
She's good at it.
That's fantastic. They are very good at it, believe me. But it's interesting, as kids growing up, you know, and you're opening up presents on Christmas Day, and, you know, you want the bike, you want the mitt, you want the football, you want all those things, a baseball bat. The girls want the dolls and the doll house and the Susie Bake ovens and all that stuff. But, you know, you look around and my dad, you know, he would get socks and underwear for Christmas. And as a kid, you go, what? I don't want to get old because I don't want just socks and underwear for Christmas. Well, once you get older, you appreciate it and understand why.
Yeah, how true. How true.
I'm certainly there. Well, you know, speaking of dads and Christmas and underwear and socks and everything. In locker rooms, they're doing their changings, especially in the college locker room, the atmosphere, and teams are changing, gearing up for conference championships this weekend. And of course, the final polls will be coming out for the top 4 teams to play for the college football playoffs, which will be taking place on New Year's Day. Of course, the Sugar Bowl and the Rose Bowl. And the 4 teams right now, as of this podcast, looks as if, and not necessarily in this particular order, but Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, and the Ohio State Buckeyes. We don't know where any of these teams are going to fall, considering, of course, they win their conference championships and they move on and get the Final 4 rankings. But we do know the games are going to be played on New Year's Day. And as far as the Rose Bowl is concerned, I don't know if you heard of this, Doc, but it's blowing up around social media and sports talk, and it's going to be a big topic moving forward. Unless some things are changing. But as far as the state of California is concerned, they're saying whatever teams advance to the college football playoffs and play in that semifinal game on New Year's Day, that the teams are welcome to play, of course, in the legendary Rose Bowl, but without any fans. And that stadium, I believe, holds somewhere between 80 and 90,000 spectators on any given day or any given week. But unfortunately, due to the pandemic, the legislators out there said, no, the teams can come and play. You can bring the broadcast crew, but no fans. And everyone is up in arms regarding this, from one side saying they agree to the other side saying how preposterous this is, how absurd this is. It's ridiculous. And it's all based on COVID-19. Doc, your thoughts? You have the floor.
Yeah, it's the science has to be respected and people have to be kept safe, and the virus needs to be dealt with responsibly. And I believe in masks and I believe in social distancing. However, the damage to society, to the economy, to people from departures from normalcy needs to not be neglected. And there needs to be a compromise come to. And having a huge stadium with a relatively small number of fans in an outdoor venue require masks poses virtually no risk to anybody. You know, I mean, it's less risk than going to a grocery store, I think. You know, we see these reports all the time of somebody was, said he broke a rule because he was kayaking by himself in the ocean or whatever. And these kinds of one-size-fits-all arbitrary rules are what everybody hates about government and big institutions. So I don't question their motives. I noted that they're halfway to the, I don't know what it is, 1.5 million or so signatures they need to recall Gavin Newsom in California. And it's just keeping people safe and following the science is, I mean, it's what I do. But you just have to be careful. And maybe as a physician, I'm conscious of this. We're in a position where they talk about doctors' orders, right? And we put restrictions on people for work. We tell people they should take medicines. We don't, command them to do it. And you just have to be very careful if you're in any position sort of authority. I don't mean to be so verbose. I'm just trying to say this in a nice way. There is just no reason for that to be the case. If people in an outdoor venue with masks, with some social distancing, what possible reason can there be to not have people in the stands? There is no science anywhere that backs that up. And, one of the nice things about having a pluralistic society is we do different things in different places. And to my knowledge, the places that allow fans have not seen super spreader events, have not seen any consequences. And boy, it's just very easy when you're a politician to lock people down. And, we've seen example after example, and I won't get into names, but everybody knows who they are, of politicians who have said one thing and then defied their own restrictions, right? And so the short answer is all the science would indicate that with some precautions, fans ought to be in those stands.
Well, again, part of me said I understand it. Another part said there's no way it should happen. And the reason I mention that is the fact that there are a lot of people out there that say this is the worst thing to do. And of course, the state of California have locked down, the entire state because they want to get a control on this virus and the spread of it. So I understand from their perspective. But one reason Brian Kelly, the head coach for Notre Dame, spoke out on this is the fact that Notre Dame, I believe, from a national perspective, outside looking in, take a different approach to how to handle the spread of this virus. And we saw in the first meeting a few weeks back between Notre Dame and Clemson at Notre Dame, and the game went into overtime. Notre Dame knocks off Clemson. The fans, 20,000 fans in the stands in South Bend, rushed the field and in celebration, mobbing players and not protecting themselves. And there was quite a big stink about that from a national perspective, saying that there was no disregard. They had no disregard, no concern for the virus, no concern for their fellow student bodies. And it was irresponsible for the university and the athletic program to allow these fans not only in the stands, but the opportunity to rush the field to possibly infect people. And I know a lot of fans were punished for that, and I believe they had to go into quarantine. But that's kind of the backlash regarding this, and I think it's part of the decision regarding the state of California, why they looked at it that way, because of the chances that Notre Dame could bring a large group of a fan base to that venue, and they don't want the spread to happen in any sort of way.
Yeah, but I mean, you can protect against that, right? You can having the fans in the stands and having the fans rush the field are two totally separate events. And, you can easily, you see some security people, right? You can keep fans off the field. So probably Notre Dame should have done that. I mean, the truth of the matter is, the risk, of course, is it isn't the risk so much to the people who come onto the field. The argument would be that one young, healthy person gives it to another young, healthy person, and even though they're fine, they give it to their sick grandmother at home. And that's a valid argument. I'll buy that. But although we haven't really seen this happening in these cases, I mean, I'm not aware of what you discussed having resulted in significant problems, but it's a valid argument. And so all you do is just keep some control over the situation, right? Just don't let the people rush the field. Not hard to do. You get security people; they do it all the time. Monica Seles, the tennis player, was stabbed by a deranged fan 20 years ago. I don't know, and
a little longer than that.
Yeah, maybe so. And so they make it so that you really can't rush tennis courts anymore so much. So, I mean, just do that. Let the fans come. Don't have 90,000 fans in there. But, if you have 10,000 fans and have people separated some, wear masks, I don't think you'd have problems. And it's not like we're looking for zero spread of the virus, because we're not getting zero spread of the virus anyway. It's a controlled situation. You don't want to have super spreader events. But if you have people, I'll say it again, you're outdoor, you've got masks, you're socially distanced, it doesn't get any better than that. And then you just prevent them from rushing the field, right? You have chains, you have big, strong security guards. They're not going to be rushing the field. Plus, you tell them, too. I mean, people aren't stupid. And I don't think that people want to bring disrespect to their university. And you just say, everybody, just be aware. And you could absolutely, positively control that. And I realize California is having more cases, but this isn't where you get more cases from. But it's the worst thing about government, the absolute worst thing about it. And it's not just government, it's institutions. It's schools. It's any big institution when they make blanket regulations just because they can. So in this case, they shouldn't. I don't know. Can they? I'm sorry. I know that they had a regulation, and I think it was Santa Clara County, against contact sports for a period of time, which affected the 49ers. and the 49ers, I think, moved the game to Arizona or something like that.
Right,
I don't
right.
think this is that. But I don't know. Maybe, I mean, why not move it away from the Rose Bowl? Move it someplace else, right? Where they can, because having fans there is a big part of it. And, you know, people get out. It's good for their psyche. You generate some revenue for some of the concessions, other things there. So, you know, I mean, why people are mentally tortured enough, right? Why torture them even more? So I don't know, Jerry. You're in touch with, you know, a lot of you have inside channels that I don't. I wonder if there's been any talk of moving it out of California.
Yeah, well, there is some speculation that has arise from that. But part of the problem, obviously, as you well know, it's a contractual situation. So it's not necessarily that simple and that easy just to move from one venue to another. You talk about politics, and that plays an important key role regarding relocating and all of that. At the end of the day, it comes down to the money, and that's the reason why these kids are playing. Despite the fact they're not getting paid, is because of the type of money that's generated from this, major sporting event. And I think part of the reason it's come about is the fact that some are leery that Notre Dame could be that one team that will be playing in California at the Rose Bowl. And many will point at it, critics will point at the finger at the university and say, hey, you guys failed the test already, i.e., again, the upset victory in overtime over Clemson a few weeks back, and how the student bodies, the first of the matter is the fact that you allowed the 20,000 fans into the stadium to watch this game. And then secondly, you weren't able to control them to rush the field. So you failed that test, and we don't necessarily want to give you another opportunity to travel from the Midwest out west on a plane, stay in a hotel, come to the venue, interact with the personnel who are there to seat you or guide you or security or whatever. If you've shown us already that you failed that test in following protocol, and they're saying we don't want to run that risk of just one person, if there are 20,000 fans allowed to come in, that may have the symptoms and become a super spreader. And I think that's what they're looking at, Doc.
Yeah, that's kind of harsh, though. I think it's kind of like it's kind of like the prison reform bill, right? So take somebody on a first offense for a drug problem and lock them up. Right? People learn from mistakes. So fine. You say to Notre Dame, first of all, the security issue isn't Notre Dame's anyway. Is it at the Rose Bowl? So it's Pasadena's issue, right? So it's their security.
Protect them.
No, of course. What I'm saying is Notre Dame security failed at Notre Dame, but this isn't Notre Dame's security. First of all, people learn from their mistakes. I guess that's what I was trying to say with the drug analogy, right? People make mistakes, they learn from it. So you punish them for the rest of their lives because they made a mistake? I think you learn from it, and it's not even them. So let's just say you don't believe Notre Dame. You think, I don't like Notre Dame. These guys are irresponsible. They're just bad people. I don't like Notre Dame. Okay, fine. But this isn't Notre Dame anyway. This is the city of Pasadena. This is the Rose Bowl Corporation, whatever it is, right? And so. I said it before, I'll say it again. You can absolutely positively keep people off the field, and you do it with your own security. So the fact that Notre Dame failed that test has absolutely nothing to do with them failing that test. And again, because it wouldn't be them who'd be taking the test. It'd be local people. And keeping people off the field is easy. It's just a matter of money. You just have to hire some security guards, and you have to have the will to do it. So that's easy to keep them off the field. And then, in the stands, yeah.
They don't want the human contact. They don't want the fan base who are in the stands to try the attempt to get on the field and have security have to prevent them from getting there. They're trying to eliminate or reduce the human contact.
Yeah, but where this stuff happens, again, these people are not. Say what you want, and maybe you could argue against, and you probably should, in my opinion, argue against having liquor at the games. I mean, security, getting into a stadium is it's one of the hardest things known to man, right? So liquor, right? So don't allow liquor and such in there. They don't anyway, I don't think, to bring stuff in. Don't sell beer so that people aren't going to be inebriated. And I mean, it's not like you're going to have 10,000 barbarians at the gate swinging clubs at security guards. They're not going to try to do that. And then the other thing is, let them know there's repercussions. And again, let them know, hey, this is serious, guys. Anybody who approaches this, we're taking your picture, and you're in big trouble. They're just not going to do it. I mean, they're just not. And having them in the stands, distanced, or small groups like they do in restaurants. I mean, people are in outdoor restaurants, and are distanced with masks. There's just, I don't want to say there's no risk, because everything in life has some risk, but there's no more risk in that than in any other activity. And Jerry, as to your other point about athletes being exploited, you're saying because the places make money and that's why they want them to play. So I agree with you. I'm 66 years old, and every year I get more cynical than the year before. And so I absolutely believe in almost every human endeavor, sad to say, follow the money. So I'm sure you're right that the impetus for the schools wanting these kids to play is the money. I'd like to think it's all altruism, and maybe it's that too, probably it's that too. But having said that, it's good for these kids to play, right? We found out it's not being spread on the football field. That was what I was talking about last week with the genetic testing. So they're not going to get sick from playing football much. And if they do, they're going to be, I shouldn't say sick, I should say infected. So they're probably not going to get infected. If they do get infected, the chances they're getting sick are minuscule. And I'll tell you, for these kids, it's a chance of a lifetime to play in the Rose Bowl. It's good for these kids to have played in it. It's good for keeping them occupied. These kids are safer. These kids are absolutely safer on the football field than they are left to their own devices in their hometown. They're much likelier to get in trouble there. So while I agree with you that it may well be that the main impetus for this is all about the money from the schools, it also happens that it's really good for the kids. So do you want to punish the kids to punish the schools? I mean, that makes no sense. I think this is a case where it works for everybody. And the kids want to play, and you could argue, well, the kids are young and stupid and they just want to play and they don't know any better. I don't know if they're so young and stupid. And even if they are, saying as an old cynical adult, if it were my son, I'd want him to play, And I know these risks better than anybody, I think, in the field. So it's just, and it's just something else, the governmental thing. So I have huge issues with governments that do this.
Right.
But I'll tell you something. I don't think any of these people mean badly. The real problem, the real crisis, and the source of virtually all the problems is the clamps that are put on dissemination of information, which results in unwarranted fear. So the people that are doing this are genuinely afraid, and there is fear being spread out of proportion to what the problems are. The problems are horrific. Lots of people die, obviously. But there were recent Senate hearings when, not to digress too far, although this is an important point, there are drugs that exist that are cheap that can be repurposed for COVID-19. I'm intimately aware of this because our research foundation has written 2 of the seminal papers on the subject, systematic reviews, that show that hydroxychloroquine is completely cardiac safe and it's effective used early. But it's very cheap, $15, $20 for a full course of treatment. There's a newer drug, ivermectin. I might have mentioned this last week, but I can't mention it too much. Ivermectin, and there were Senate hearings on this. That were anybody who gets a chance to watch these should that were held, where some of the smartest people in the world were saying that ivermectin is used for a parasitic infestation called scabies. Ivermectin, very cheap, been used forever, miraculously effective, but they're not being promoted. Why? Because they don't generate profit for people. The things that are being promoted are vaccines, which generate billions of dollars of profit. Remdesivir, which generates huge profits, antibodies, which generate huge profits. So this isn't an indictment of Big Pharma. I think Big Pharma is doing a great job. They're getting the vaccine out. They're promoting things that help people. I think that's wonderful. The problem is that in our society, like you said about following the money, the expensive drugs have a champion, and that's the pharma companies that make money on them. It's great. The inexpensive drugs don't have a champion. And as was mentioned in this hearing, there should have been a task force on repurposed drugs to use for COVID-19. Because the good thing about these is these are the most effective treatments that exist. And right now, everything's based on the vaccine, and the vaccine's important. But there are treatments that would save and would have saved tens of thousands of lives that aren't being used. And they're not being used because because nobody makes any money on them. And unfortunately, in our society, unless you're making money on it, it's hard to get a champion. There are lots of doctors who have, but the doctors don't have a voice. There were these Senate hearings that took place. Right. So what I'm saying is, and if these, and people should know, I mean, look it up. Ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine used early. It's completely safe. It's effective used early, hydroxychloroquine. Ivermectin, amazingly safe. Cheap, very low toxicity. So just to say to all the viewership here, these are things that would save lives for everybody, athletes, other people, but the messaging for them, it's not sexy, I guess. I don't know. There aren't people making money on it. So it's greatly under reported. So the net effect is that as bad as COVID-19 is, the general perception of it is even worse than what it really is. Part of this, I mean, you can hate the media all you want, and I think most Americans do, and I think there's reasons for that. But outside of the media being duplicitous or not, bad news sells. We talked about this before too, right? Disasters sell. So for that reason, cases get reported on much more so than hospitalizations or deaths, right? Because it makes the thing sound, it's bad, but it makes it sound even worse than it is. So that's what I think is going on here, long roundabout thing, is that sure, there's risks and dangers, but having 5,000 or 10,000 fans in the stands, socially distanced with masks, take steps beforehand to make sure that, and you can even tell Notre Dame, the Rose Bowl people could tell Notre Dame and say, look, if any of your fans come on the field, make Notre Dame put up $5 million in escrow or something and say, if your fans misbehave, it comes out of your pocket. I mean, you can absolutely control the bad things that would happen. And it'd be so good for everybody to have some fans out there, and it's safe.
Well, that's an interesting perspective, Doctor. And I'm sure if that was presented to them by the NCAA and the state of California and the Rose Bowl committee, I'm sure that there would definitely be some sort of backlash regarding that. But it is a
what kind of backlash do you mean, Jerry?
I'm sorry?
What kind of backlash do you mean?
I think Notre Dame would scoff at that. I think that Notre Dame would try to turn a blind eye to putting
scoff
money.
What? I'm sorry. Scoff at which?
What you said, put some money in escrow, and if they don't abide by the rules set in place as far as the Rose Bowl committee is concerned, and their fans get out of hand and do everything they did in South Bend a few weeks back, that they're going to lose that money. That would create, in my opinion, a bigger issue.
You think so? It's interesting to hear you say that. Maybe you're right. You know?
Right now, I mean, Notre Dame, we're not even talking about the possibility of being fined or having to pay if your fans get out. And Notre Dame's already not happy with the decision. So if you throw that additive into the mix, it's really going to ruffle some feathers. And you can believe not only Brian Kelly, the head coach of the football team, but the chancellor and the president certainly will voice their opinion as well, Doc. Just my opinion.
Let me ask you a question, because you're more in touch with the practicalities of this than I am. So Notre Dame says we want fans on the field, and on the field, in the stands.
In the stands, yeah.
In the stands, socially distanced, mass, small numbers, and then you say to Notre Dame, okay, but given what happened, we need you to guarantee that your kids will be okay. And maybe the escrow isn't the right thing or something. So you don't think Notre Dame would say, okay, this is how we'll guarantee it? You think?
I mean, say for instance, if they say if your fans rush the field like you did, at your home game against Clemson, you're going to lose this money that's generated. This game is generated. You're school is going to lose this money, win or lose. If your fans are, off base, you're going to lose this money. Yeah, in my opinion, there's no question about it. I believe Notre Dame would, they flex their muscles, and some people believe they're arrogant, and I think those who believe that, they would see that arrogance if the committee tried to step in and say, hey, listen, control.
And not just Notre Dame. I mean, Notre Dame, or whatever other school they're playing as well, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to just single out. And Notre Dame, I'm just thinking this through. So Notre Dame could ask every person that went there, sign a waiver, make everybody that goes there say, look, you want to go to the game people pay huge sums of money for these games anyway, right?
Right.
So whatever they're paying, say, look, here's another X number of dollars you got to put up. And if you rush the field, I don't know. It's interesting. Again, you'd know better than I, but I would think that just asking somebody to, put up or shut up, put your money where your mouth is, whatever, I think if the Rose Bowl asked them to guarantee it in a way that had some teeth, and they wouldn't, then honestly, then I'm not so sure they should let the fans come. I mean, maybe I changed my opinion.
Yeah. I think any university, and you're right, we don't want to just single out Notre Dame, but they're the poster child as far as fans this season attending these sporting events. They showed you exactly what you don't want to happen. So that's why we're using Notre Dame.
Yeah.
But I truly believe if it was put in front of them to say, if you don't control your fans, we're going to strip you of this conference money. This money.
Yeah, there you go. That's even better.
I think that Notre Dame, win or lose, I think they would scoff at it and say, no, you don't tell us what to do. We're going to tell our fans, but you're not going to penalize us because a fan rushes runs onto the football field. You're not going to do that. We'll handle that in house. And what Notre Dame probably would counter with, in my opinion, I have no idea, but I think they would counter and say, you know what, if just like we did at home, if any of our fans rush the field, we will deal with them back in South Bend. We're not going to deal with it here. We're going to deal with it back at South Bend. We'll determine how we handle that, not you, and you're not going to penalize us for taking funds away from us. I think that's the stance Notre Dame would take, or any other institution.
Yeah, I mean, you're a smart guy. You're probably right. So let me ask you a question. What then if the Rose Bowl said to them, well, then we're not going to have fans?
Well, they can say that. They've already said that. We don't want fans here. And that's why Notre Dame, Brian Kelly is speaking out right now. I haven't heard from Dabo Swinney or Nick Saban or Ryan Day with the Ohio State Buckeyes. I haven't heard from any of those other coaches regarding this. And again, we don't know what teams are going to be selected to play in that semifinal game on New Year's Day. But Brian Kelly, I believe he felt that it was directed toward Notre Dame based on past experience, and he verbalized his displeasure with it. So it's already been said we don't want the fans to come to the game.
But you give them an opportunity then. You say, look, we're willing to let you have fans as long as you provide guarantees with teeth that they're not going to rush the field.
Well, that's probably what they're going to,
I mean, you see how it plays out. I would think, what do I know? But I think it'd be fair. I mean, if I were whoever at Notre Dame, the chancellor, whatever, I think I'd be willing to say to the guys, hey, you're young adults here, yada yada, And Notre Dame's not. I mean, those are pretty smart kids at that place. It's a real good school.
That's the point, Doc. They are smart, and 20,000 of those smart student fans rushed onto the field.
Yeah, but I think it's all on how you set it up, right? And I think if you set it up and there's consequences for doing it, you tell everybody, this is Notre Dame's reputation, and then you have big security. I mean, you can definitely keep them off the field. That's not even the issue, right? And I know what you're saying. You don't want security guards to interact with these guys. But like I said, I don't think it's the barbarians at the gate. Right. I don't think this is the, So I don't know. Just my take on it. Who knows? But it's interesting. Your take on it. It'll be interesting to see what happens, right? Because this is a real world laboratory, and one thing we should do is learn from our mistakes. The nursing homes, right? In New York, Governor Cuomo meant well. He didn't want the hospitals to get overrun, so he emptied the hospitals into the nursing homes. Well, big mistake. He wasn't trying to do something bad, made a mistake, my opinion. But then you learn from your mistakes, and like Notre Dame, kids rush the field. So you realize, well, we just, we got to take more steps. So you learn from your mistakes. It's the whole thing. We talk about it all the time. I'm part of a study group of some well-known people with COVID-19. And the whole thing is that as it evolves, you have to constantly be looking at things and learn from your mistakes.
Right. But that's what the committee is saying. That's what the Rose Bowl committee is saying. The state of California is saying. You're not gonna. You made a mistake, Notre Dame. We're not going to invite you out here to possibly make another mistake because we don't think you've learned from it.
Well, then you do something with teeth. I don't know. It seems pretty simple to me. But what do I?
It is simple. And let me be clear. I think the fans that we're talking about are more family members. So mom, dad, sister, brother, a close relative. I think those are the fans that we're talking about. Because obviously you have seniors who are playing in their final game. It's a bowl game. It's a playoff atmosphere. So, families want to be with their student athlete.
Yeah.
So I don't know the numbers as far as, and it could be just 5,000 fans allowed inside. I don't know the numbers, but the point is, it may not be the 18, 19, 20-year-old student on campus who's going to be flying out, going to these games. We're talking more of family members and close relatives who will probably be allowed to come to the games to watch this. And you can probably get a better responsible act out of those individuals as opposed to the 18, 19, 20-year-old kid.
Yeah, all true. Yeah. But I think you can absolutely ensure that it won't happen with proper safeguards, potential penalties, one thing and another. And if Notre Dame is offended by that, then I don't know. I guess between them and the Rose Bowl, but I don't know why they'd be offended.
Doc, I think. Well, I mean, it seems as if the finger is being pointed at them, but you got some SEC schools and ACC schools also who are allowing fans in the stands to watch their games. But I think the state of California are concerned once these individuals come from what they may consider, questionable states, they get off the plane, and between getting to the game and leaving the state, they're going to want to go out to dine, they're going to want to go out and do XYZ and interact with other people.
Well, can I tell something? So,
and I think they're concerned about that as well.
That's a good point too. Not just rushing the field, but just bringing people into the state. Although, I mean, tens of thousands of people are going to California every day. It's not like you can't travel by air. I mean, if you wanted to, you could do what we do. So when we do surgery, we have to get the hospitals all have a policy. You have to get a COVID test, usually 3 days before, negative COVID test. And then if you don't have a negative COVID test, the surgeries, you get the COVID test, you postpone, and you get the surgery. I mean, if you wanted to, you could do the same thing with that too. You could make a condition of, I mean, it's a little bit of a job to verify all this, but I mean, it's doable, and again, it all just comes down to money. It's a few extra bucks. And like I said, people pay lots of money for these things anyway. But you just make sure that if you're going to go there, so then the hole in the logic could be this. So if the game's on I don't know what's it going to be, on a Sunday maybe. If the game's on a Sunday, and
it'll be New Year's Day, which I believe
that's
is
a Friday.
Friday.
All right. So the people that are going to be in the stands have to have a negative COVID test from 3 days before, from the Tuesday. If you don't have a negative COVID test, you're not getting in the stadium. So kind of a wasted trip. So and don't even come. And now, so you can get a negative COVID test on Tuesday and catch it Wednesday. You can get a negative COVID test on Tuesday, and you could have caught it Monday, but not build up enough virus. So I realize nothing is going to be 100% accurate, but you can mitigate the risk. I think it's low risk, very low risk to begin with, and you can mitigate it even more. I mean, and let people decide. So people say, well, I don't want to get a COVID test, or I don't want to put money down to ensure that I want. Well, then fine, then don't go. But at least you give people, and you see, the thing that people want more than anything, in my opinion, is some logic. The thing that they hate is that I'm out running by myself on the beach and I get arrested for spreading COVID. It's nuts, right? And so if you just work with people, give people the opportunity to do things right, and it doesn't cost the state anything. The state could make money on it. They would make money on it. You know. So all interesting points you raise, but that risk could be mitigated down to nothing more than everyday risk. And you could argue that it would lower risk because it keeps these kids, in a better place than they would be if they're not playing ball.
Well, I'm sure there's more on tap, Doc, and we'll certainly be tuned in. It's exciting, it's interesting, and to times that we're living in, unfortunately. But the good thing is, I think, from a mental health perspective and standpoint, these kids, they do want to play.
Yeah.
And as fans, we want to watch them play, and we get an opportunity to watch them every Saturday to get out there on the gridiron and entertain us, because it's something that we definitely need as a society here in this country during this pandemic. So, for selfish reasons, we want them out there to play. And for parents who have kids who are playing at these respective institutions, I certainly understand, because if my son was out there, if Justin Fields was my son, the quarterback, outstanding quarterback for Ohio State, I certainly would love to be at the Rose Bowl to watch him play in person as opposed to on television. Doc, we can continue to go on and on. It's always a pleasure and an honor to get an opportunity to bounce some ideas off of you, bounce some topics off of you, and get a chance to hear your response to them all, which is all good. If anyone wants to get a hold of you and find a way to learn more about any type of injury, whether they're experience it or their favorite athlete may experience it, how do they get in contact with you, Dr. Chad Padromas?
So our phone number is 847-699-6810. We've got a great staff and are always interested in helping any way we can.
Sounds fantastic, and you have a dynamic staff. I can say that personally firsthand, because you guys certainly took. Doc, I can dance and move around. I'm all good.
Yeah, how you feeling? That's good for you. Well, Jerry, it always, healthy patients who are in good shape like you make doctors look good. I just got to tell you. So
well, you made me look good, and you made me feel good, and I'm proud to say that. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Take care.
You too.
TheRewindSports60.com